Welcome all to the series of lectures on Introduction to C Programming. This is Saikiran, Assistant Professor from Department of Computer Science and Technology at Madanapalle Institute of Technology and Science. So, as a part of this series of lectures, first we will look into the C basics here. First, we will discuss about what do you mean by computer programming language, and then we will go for history of C. Then we will see the features of C. Then we will look into structure of C program. Then we will see a sample program. Then what is the process of compilation and execution, and then we will discuss about C tokens. Now, so before going to what do you mean by computer programming languages, first we should know what is a computer. Basically, a computer is a computational machine. Otherwise, you can say it is an electronic device which takes the input data and then process this input data with the help of the processor and gives the output. So basically, as I told you, this computer is a machine. So we should give some series of instructions in order to process the input data what we are providing in order to complete a task. And these series of instructions we can call them as program. So basically, these programs are very much useful in order to communicate with the computer to accomplish the task. So now, what are the language we are using to write these programs are called as computer programming languages. So in other words, you can say computer programming languages are used to communicate with the computer in order to complete a task. So when it is coming to the functional components, here we can see we are having input devices, output devices, and CPU. CPU is nothing but central processing unit. Inside CPU, we are going to have ALU, arithmetic logical unit, and CU, control unit, and MU, memory unit. So what is the use of this input means? This input unit is used to give the input to the computer. After giving this input, what are the programs we have given to the computer? Based on that program, the input data will be processed with the help of ALU. So as the name suggests, this ALU is responsible to perform all the arithmetic and logical operations which are going to be carried out. And CU responsibility is to control each and every operation which is going to be performed by the computer, and memory unit is used in order to either store the data, otherwise to take the data which is required to perform the task. So after performing the task, what are the output we are going to get, that will be displayed through the output devices. Otherwise, the output may be stored in the memory unit for future purpose. So this is the like a basic introduction about a computer. Now we will discuss about what are the different computer programming languages. So in this lecture, we are going to mainly concentrating on three categories of computer programming languages. First one is machine level language, and then we will discuss about assembly level, and then we will discuss about high level programming language. The first one is here machine level language. So this machine level language is also called as low level programming language, and this language is represented in the form of zeros and ones, which we are also going to call it as binary code. So here, this is the only language which can understand by the computer directly. Why? Because machines only understand zeros and ones, and this machine level language we are going representing through zeros and ones. That's why the computer can understand it directly. But when it is coming to the human, it is very difficult to understand this machine level language. Why? Because, for example, as a human, if you want to read the value 5, it is very easy, simply we can read. But if you want to store this value 5 into the computer in the form of zeros and ones, it will come like 0 1 and 0 1. So for the number 5 itself, we are giving 4 bits of data. When it is coming to the complex numbers or complex images, the number of zeros and ones are going to be gradually going to increase. In that case, remembering these zeros and ones as well as to identifying all these zeros and ones very difficult to the human. That's why machine level language cannot understand by the human. And as the machine level language understand by the computer directly, we don't need any kind of translator to convert this language. And next thing is, modifications and errors fixing cannot be done in the machine level language, and the execution of this particular instructions is going to be very fast. Why? Because the computer is able to understand it directly. That's why the execution is very fast comparing to the other programming languages. And this machine level language is hardware dependent. So this is about machine level language. Now we will see assembly level language. So here this assembly level language is more than the low level language as well as less than the high level language. Here this assembly level language is going to be represented by using the mnemonic keys, with the help of mnemonic keys such as move, add, sub, etc. Like this we are going to having several mnemonic keys. With the help of these mnemonic keys we are going to write the codes, and this assembly level language cannot understand by the computer directly, but the humans are able to understand this assembly level language when they are having the knowledge about it, about all these mnemonic keys. So as the computer cannot understand it directly, we need to have some translator which converts this assembly level language into machine understandable language. So here we are going to using a translator called assembler. So the purpose of assembler is converting the assembly level language into machine level language. So in this language, in assembly level language, modifications and error fixing can be done, and the execution is very slow comparing to the machine level, and compared to the high level language it is faster, and this assembly level language is machine dependent. Now we'll discuss about high level language. So here this high level language is represented in the form of words, which is going to resembling the English statements as well as some basic mathematical symbols. So here we are going to use some basic mathematical symbols as well as the several words which is going to resembling the English language. As we are going to write this particular language instructions in the form of general English, human is able to understand this language directly, but computer cannot understand it. So that's why we need to translate this particular language into machine level language. For that purpose we are going to using the translators called compiler or interpreter. So we can use either compiler or interpreter. But what is the difference between compiler and interpreter is, compiler is able to convert the entire code into machine level language at a time, but when it is coming to the interpreter, it converts the code line by line. So in this language also modifications and error fixing can be done, and execution is very slow. Why? Because we need to use some translator which converts the high level into machine level. For that it will take some time. That's why the execution is very slow comparing to the other two programming languages. And this particular language is machine dependent. So this is about computer programming languages. Now we will discuss about history of C language. So here this C language was introduced by the Dennis Rich in the year of 1972 at Bell Labs. Okay, but here this C language was introduced from these three languages: Algol, BCPL, and B language. From these three languages, this C language was introduced. So this Algol is nothing but the algorithmic logic, which is developed by the international group in the year of 1960. And from this Algol, next the language introduced was BCPL by Martin Richards in the year of 1967, and then B language was introduced in the year of 1970 by Ken Thompson. So from based on these three languages, the C language was introduced in the year of 1972, which is also called as traditional C by Dennis Rich. After this, in the year of 1978, we got one more version in the C language, K and R C, which is introduced by the uh, Kenigan and Ritchie. That's why we are going to call it as K and R C. After this, in the year of 1983, the C language was standardized by ANC, like ANSI, American National Standardization Institute, in the year of 1983. That's why we are going to call it as ANSI C, which is standardized by the ANSI committee. And then in the year of 1990, again the C language was again one more time standardized by the ISO committee. ISO is nothing but International Organization for Standardization. So this ISO committee standardized this C language in the year of 1990. In like actually it is in between 1989 to 1990, but here we have given like 1990 only. So that's why it is also called as ANSI or ISO C. After that, again the C language was standardized in the year of 1999. That's why we are going to call it as C99. So which is done by standardization committee. So this is about history of C language. Now we will see what are the different standardizations we got for C language. So at the time in 1972, when the C language was introduced for the first time, it was not standardized. Okay, so it is standardized in the year of 1989 by ISO. So that's why the period is between 1989 to 90, which is, that's why we are calling it as ANSI or ISO C. Again, later it was standardized in the year of 1999. That's why we are calling it as C99. So it is standardized by ISO or IEC. ISO is nothing but International Organization for Standardization. IEC is nothing but International Electrotechnical Committee. So by these organizations, this C language was standardized. So that's why we are called as C99. Again, it was standardized in the year of 2011. So that C language we are going to call as C11. Again, it was standardized in the year of 2018, which is called as C18 version. So these are the several standardizations which come across till now for the C language. Now we will discuss about what are the features of C language. So as a programming language, it is having lot of features. The first one is it is a procedural language, and next one is it is very fast and efficient, and next one is modularity, next one is statistically typed language, and next one general purpose language, and then rich set of built-in operators, and then libraries with rich functions, and then middle level language. And the C language is very portable and it is very easy to extend. These are the several features what we are having for C language. So the first feature is procedural language. So here, when I want to perform a particular task, okay, for that I am writing a C program. So here, in order to complete the task, we may require several functions. That's why we are called as a procedural language. So as a beginner, some people may think like this is the only way of doing the programming. But this is not the only paradigm what we are having to do the programming in order to complete the task. Apart from that, we are having several other programming paradigms. The most commonly used programming paradigm is object oriented programming. And next one is it is very fast and efficient. So now apart from the C language, nowadays you may hear like some other languages like Java, Python. When it is compared with the C language, Java and Python are having more features. So when it is coming to the execution, so as all the features has to be loaded, when a particular program has to be executed, it will take more time. That's why the C language is very fast and it is very easy to learn. That's why we are called as fast and efficient. This is the one of the feature of C language. And next one is modularity. So here in C language, all the features have been divided into some libraries, so which are going to be available for the programmer in the while doing the programming for future purpose. That's why the C language is called as modular programming language. And next one is statistical typed programming. So in C language, the type of the variable or value is going to be checked at the compile time itself. So that's why, so whenever a particular variable is going to be declared, first we need to specify the what is the type of the variable. So then only it allows us to do the further programming. That's why C language is called as statistically typed. And next one is general purpose language. And one more thing here, when it is coming to the fast execution, statistically typed programming language will be executed very faster way comparing to the dynamically typed programming language. And next one is general purpose language. So here the C language can be used in various applications in different domains. So that's why it is called a general purpose language. And next one, so in C language we are having some like a rich set of operators which can be used when you are going to writing the complex expressions or any kind of simple expressions in order to complete a task. And next one is libraries with rich functions. So as I told you, here we are going to having the several predefined functions, so which are included in the library. So for even for a beginner programmer also, it is going to very easy for him to do the program in C language. Next one is, it is a middle level language, and next one, it is portable. Portability means, suppose if I write the C program, it can be compiled and executed in any machine, either with no changes or otherwise by doing some little bit modifications. And next one is easy to extend. For example, we already having one C program. If I want to add some other extra features, that can be added very easily. So it is the easy to extend. So these are all the different features what we are having for C programming language. Now we will look into structure of C program. So for each and every programming language, we are going to having a structure. So compulsory we need to follow the structure when you are doing the programming in that language. So when it is coming to the C language, in the structure of C, we are having like a documentation section, and then we are having link section, definition section, global declaration section. We are having the main function, and we are going to having the sub programs. We can also call them as user defined functions. So these are the various sections what we are going to having in the structure of C program. Now we will go into all these sections one by one. First one is documentation section. So basically this document section will be useful in order to know like who is the author of the particular program, what is the purpose of the program. So when this program is created, all this information will be included in the documentation section. If you want to do the documentation, it can be done in two different ways, either by using the double slash. So if you want to write a particular documentation statement in a single line, then we can use the double slash. Suppose if you want to write the documentation in multiple lines, then you need to use forward slash star, and all the lines of documentation at the end you need to give star and forward slash. So this is how we are going to do the documentation. So in the documentation we are going to mention what is the purpose, who is the author, like when the program is created, all this information will be included. What is the use of this documentation means, if any new person comes to the particular program, he is like he is able to easily understand, okay, for what purpose this program is written, when it is created, and who created this program. All this information can be known to any person. For that purpose we are going to use the documentation section. And next, second one is link section. Okay, so in link section, it is also going to be called as preprocessor directives. So it is basically used in order to link the required libraries to the program. For example, I am writing a C program. There I have written some predefined functions. So if the predefined functions has to be executed, means we need to link all the libraries where these functions are included. For that purpose, we are going to using this link section. In order to link any kind of library, we are going to using hash include statement. So here in between these braces, we need to write the library name. For example, some of the library files are stdio.h, conio.h, math.h. So these are the some of the libraries what we are going to using in the C language. And next one is definition section. So basically this definition section is used to define the some form of constant values. For example, you know a particular variable whose value cannot be changed throughout the program. In that case, you can declare and you can define that variable in this definition section. So let me give one example. I am taking the pi. So we already know the pi value is always 3.14. It doesn't matter what kind of evaluation we are going to do. Okay, for pi value it will be like 3.14. So in that case I can define this pi value in the definition section. So to define any kind of variable like this, we need to use hash define statement. Hash define space, here we need to write the variable name, and the value what you want to assign to the particular variable. So this is how we are going to uh, define a variable with the constant value in the definition section. And next one we are having is global declaration. So in this section, we are going to declaring a variable which can be accessed to the particular main function as well as to the all the sub functions. For example, here I want to access a particular value through a variable into the main function as well as to the sub functions what I am having here. In that case, the particular value can be declared in the global section so that the variable can be accessed to the all functions. And next one is main function. So when it is coming to the main function, inside of main function we are going to have in the declaration part as well as the executable part. So here the execution always starts from the main function and ends with main function. Okay, and then we are going to having the subprogram section where we are going to have the user defined functions. All these functions are going to be called into the main function as per the requirement. So this is about structure of C program. So if you observe here, we are having several sections like documentation section, link section, definition section, global declaration section, main function as well as sub functions. Whether all these sections are mandatory into the each and every C program is no. So here some sections are mandatory for each and every C program, and remaining sections are depends upon the complexity of the problem, like which we are going to implement as well as per the programmer implementation. So here documentation section, link section, definition section, global declaration, main and subprogram. After these sections, link section and main function, these two are mandatory even to write a very simple or basic C program. And apart from these two sections, all the remaining sections, as I told you, based on our implementation as well as the complexity of the problem we are going to use. Now we will see a simple C program. If you observe here, I used only two sections. One is link section and second one is main function. So here just I want to print a particular message called hello world. So that's why I have written like void main. Inside main function I have written printf. Inside printf I wrote hello world. So if I compile and run this program, it is going to give me the output called hello world. So here this printf is a predefined function. So where this predefined function is available in the particular stdio.h header file. So stdio.h is nothing but standard input output header file. So that's why this function is available in this particular header file or library. That's why I included this one in my C program. And one more thing, before main function I've written something called void. So void means it doesn't return any value. So basically in C program, if I take any function, our compiler expects like the function will return some value. But the main function won't return any value. Why? Because the execution starts from main function as well as ends with main function. So that's why it won't return any kind of value. So that's why we return void. Suppose if you search in the internet, sometimes you will have int in place of void. In that case, you need to write one more statement at the end of the main function, return 0. Why? Because as I told you, this main function is not going to return any value, and you specified the return type as integer. So we should write return 0. Now we will discuss about the compilation and execution process of C program. Just now we have seen very simple program. So you have written the C program, how you are going to compile and what is the execution process we are going to have. This entire thing I have represented through this particular flowchart. So now at the beginning, basically when the system is ready, okay, so we are going to write the program. Okay, after writing the program, if you want to do any kind of modifications that you can do, okay, that is called as edit source program. After doing all the modifications, we are going to compile the source program with the help of compiler. So now after compilation, if you get any syntactical errors, those errors has to be rectified. Then only it is allowed. Then only it is going to allow us to execute. So if it identifies any syntactical errors, again we need to edit the program so that the source code will be ready. Again, with the help of the compiler, we will compile the source code. So this process will be repeatedly done until there are no syntactical errors. So if there are no syntactical errors, then this particular high level language code will be converted into object code. We already discussed it. The purpose of compiler is converting the high level language into machine level language. So now this high level code, source code is converted into object code. Object code is nothing but here mission level code, which is going to be having in the form of zeros and ones. So now object code is available. So now we can run this object code. But if you want to run this object code, as I told you, we are going to have in some libraries, right? So from that libraries, we need to load all the required functions. So that's why from the system library, whatever the libraries are required, that will be linked with this particular object code. Now we can execute this particular object code, means we can run the code. So when you're running the code, we need to give some kind of input data which is required to complete the task. So that we are going to provide here. So when you're going to providing any kind of data, from that data, if you get any kind of errors, then we are going to get the logical error. When you get the logical error, again we will go to the edit the program. Okay. Suppose if there are no logical and data errors, then the particular code will be executed and we are going to get the output and we are going to stop. So this is the compilation and execution process of C program. Now we will discuss about C tokens, one of the very important topic. Before going to start the doing the programming in C language, first we should know what is meant by C token, what are the different things we are having. So here token is nothing but a smallest piece of element which we are going to use while writing the program. So under C tokens, we are having something called keywords, constant, strings, special symbols, identifiers, and operators. So these are all the different elements what we are going to use while doing the program. So in our next video, anyway, we are going to through all these tokens one by one. First, we'll discuss about what do you mean by constant, identifiers, and keywords in our next lecture. So these are the references so from where I took the content. If you are having any kind of queries, questions about e-content, you can kindly fill this form. Thank you.